Today, we're going to discuss men going their own way, what it actually is all about, and what it's not. We're going to talk about 7 important things to know when you think about mgtow. There are so many preconceived and ill-informed notions about men going their own way that it is hence increasingly important to talk about what mgtow stands for and how it is changing the lives of men around the world. People nowadays lack the emotional or social intelligence to grasp the reality that men will eventually forge their own paths and create lives for themselves apart from women. Society has a major role to play in the rise of mgtow and how it continues to vilify men going their own way. Most likely, society simply expects that institutional discrimination against men will never end. Men are being marginalized as nothing more than human sperm banks, labor slaves, and human wallets, and that the dubious claims of the fourth-wave women's empowerment activists are too loud to be ignored. Instead, they present mgtow as a group of unlucky, poor, and ugly men who are unable to find a date. However, fourth-wave women's empowerment proponents cannot call someone a loser if they are also calling themselves one. mgtow has always existed. mgtow didn't actually have a name until recently. It was simply a reality that most men knew of, but it never actually found a place in society. However, it found its place over the internet and all user-generated content websites and apps over social media. Going your own way was referred to as being a confirmed bachelor in the past. A confirmed bachelor, as defined by dictionary.com, is a person who has no immediate plans to get married. A man who is single is referred to as a confirmed bachelor. It has also been used as a gender-neutral term for men. When a mgtow member declines to date or get married, they are frequently addressed with the letter G. It's common and ineffective to employ rhetoric that denigrates others in this way. Charles Darwin's theory of evolution states that an organism must choose survival over reproduction. This requires men to put their social, psychological, and financial well-being ahead of their intimate interests. The idea is the liberation of men. A Western man who follows his own way becomes richer, experiences fewer dangers in life, and lives longer. Going their own way is a way for males to liberate themselves and get rid of any injustices they may be facing, including job loss, divorce, physical or emotional abuse, and seed theft. The legislation is designed to ruin a man and bar him from dating for good. It's acceptable to transform someone into a monster if a woman files a bogus allegation against him. But if a man leaves the dating scene on his own volition, he is a monster. Men may only be categorized as normal if they date women and are captivated with their bosoms. Having distance from women is an important caution. Avoid making false accusations at work and refrain from having intimate relations with women. Life is a lot less stressful and much more stable when you don't have to worry as much about a woman destroying your life if she does something similar at work. The beginning of men avoiding women at work. Avoid having one-on-one conversations with them, sitting away from them on airlines, and book hotel rooms on different floors. A money expert claims that hiring a woman these days is very risky. What if something you said was misunderstood by her? In Scandinavian countries, men virtually completely disregard women and pursue difficult, dangerous vocations that have few female followers. Why do you think politics is getting crazier than ever and is almost exclusively a female-dominated profession in that part of the world? Because they can learn from men, women may flourish in mixed environments. However, in those where women predominate, women are constantly vying with one another for control. mgtow doesn't hate women, it sees them. In that situation, can you really blame men for choosing to go with the flow? A self-reliant man doesn't hate women. He just hates the game. mgtow is simply an updated version of an old game. Men are built with the intention of protecting and supporting women. But when females accuse males who follow their own paths of being misogynists, they are actually projecting and saying that we hate them before we realize that it is actually they who do. Either that, or they are simply too uneducated to see how fundamentally different men and women are, and how we don't frequently share the same stupid grievances and sentiments. mgtow will still protect women. Women have no fear of men. They are aware that the majority of men will defend them from other males who don't have their best interests in mind. They are aware that most guys will still lend a hand and give up their resources even after being assaulted and called names. The more successful a man is, the more he stands to lose. Because we have accumulated our savings and assets, which can be used against us, mgtow is much more vulnerable. A person's amount of money and social standing also affect how likely it is that they would face false allegations. mgtow does not support boycotts, demonstrations, wearing purple makeup, or forcing men to adopt our worldview. The idea of mgtow is rooted in emancipation. Our underlying idea is that as long as you don't heed to your wife's advice, you should be able to do whatever you want. We no longer give them unfettered access to our resources. They are driven by apathy, which is the antithesis of love and is not to be despised. There are now young males who make their own decisions that the red pill concept is gaining ground, and that the women's empowerment movement has grown so obvious that even younger male generations are catching on to it faster. This is happening as gender-based propaganda reaches boys in elementary school at younger and younger ages. My hypothesis is that women observe older men choose their own courses and think they can stop this by brainwashing young boys. When they try it, the boys notice it more quickly and swallow the red tablet more quickly. Bulldogs all around the world are caught in a terrible circle. Men need to speak up so that women's experiences are heard. If males don't repeat what they say, women have to work more to train them. mgtow just eliminates the interval. Boys are not as foolish as the left believes. In fact, they are rebelling more quickly than ever. Conditioning will lead to a rise in men going their own way, but it will also lead to a rise in incel black pill guys. That combination is both risky and prejudiced. Debunking the "where have all the good men gone" debate. This community goes into great length on the subject of where have all the good men gone. Another subject that is heavily discussed in men's rights groups is gold diggers. Although more and more men are assuming neither the male nor the female roles, women still expect men to play both. They desire an affluent man who can cook and clean, but he can also be a builder or mechanic who is also an artist, a strong leader but also a subservient follower, and he need not necessarily be emotionally dependent on her. He must prioritize both his profession and his family. There are several inconsistencies. This is one of the most creative comments I've heard recently about men, in my opinion. I've also known men who tried to follow these guidelines but had spoiled, materialistic women who always took them for granted. Therefore, the benefits do not outweigh the hazards that men must take. And for this reason, an increasing number of men are making independent decisions. The real essence of mgtow. More than anything, men desire tranquility. They are looking for a woman who can bring them happiness and calm. If not joy, at least some measure of peace. However, it just doesn't make sense for guys to be in relationships with women when even that appears impossible. The essence of mgtow is in how it already was a thought inside millions of male minds around the world. It just didn't have the right platform to come out and become part of the mainstream media's gender-related socio-cultural narrative. Men all around the world felt increasingly discriminated against, but had no idea how to and where to say what they were all thinking and feeling. The rise of mgtow coincided with the boom of social media that brought with it new platforms where people could talk, write, and just make videos about whatever they felt. And so, mgtow stands to recalibrate the place of men in society that has been robbed of its virtue by pro-female movements that quickly turned into anti-men movements. Thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel.